Veterans Day is very important because the many people that have given them, they put themselves on the edge, on the front lines, and in order so that we may have freedom. And so, yes, we need to honor these people. And so that is why it is very important to me.
What Veterans Day means to me is a day to honor all who have served and express my appreciation for the service and sacrifices that they made.
Veterans Day is important to me just to take the time and thank you for our veterans who fought for us. They didn't have to, but they chose to. They fought for people that they didn't even meet and have not met. So I believe when you are celebrating them, even if you're dressing them as an elderly person, or you just compliment them and say thank you, take that time out. They served our country. It's time that we try to serve them.
Thank you to all the veterans here at Broadwell. I'm grateful for all that you guys did for us.
You know, Veterans Day is coming up. Everybody respect our veterans that were in the wars, and the ones that come back and just give them more respect. The ones that didn't make it are still all in our thoughts and prayers. So, several of them, my dad was a veteran coming back from Korea and all that stuff, so it was priceless to me to see him come back and all the tears coming in his eyes when he comes on every Veterans Day. Just to enjoy those veterans and what he thought of all the veterans and how he got all the Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts to put the flags out for Veterans Day at cemeteries. God bless you.
Well, Veterans Day means a lot to me. I had a lot of uncles in the World War II, and then my husband was in the Navy, and so I'm always very aware of Veterans Day and so glad that we celebrate it and recognize it.
This is an annual day on November 11th to honor all our veterans in the armed services, both living and dead. It's a time to recognize their patriotism and love for country and a willingness to serve and sacrifice for the nation's good, and to thank all the veterans for their dedication to our country. And thank you all veterans very much from the bottom of my heart.
Well, Veterans Day is important to me because my son, Al, the oldest of our sons, is a retired major in the Marines, and he also was in a school system. He started school, and then my oldest grandson is a commander in the U.S. Navy and the Navy. His wife is also in the Navy. She's taking care of two little boys. She's a lieutenant colonel. So they've been to California, they've been to, and now they're heading to the East Coast. So my son's retired out of the Marines, so that's all.
Well, Veterans Day means that we should be thankful for their service, and we should be happy to be able to be here and have our freedom because of them. And so we owe them a lot. We should celebrate for them, not for us. And I think that's what's important to me.
I'm so thankful for all the veterans that have served for our country. We wouldn't be here if they didn't. My grandpa actually served in the military, and I know he had struggles that he had to work through, but I am so thankful that there are people that go out and fight for our country.
The veterans are important to me because they fought us for in the war.
Well, I guess I don't think about myself celebrating, but I appreciate it. I had aunts and uncles, great aunts and uncles, and my mom used to talk a lot about World War II because all of her brothers, she had 4 brothers, and they all went to the military, went overseas. I had 3 brothers that were in the military, and I remember my mom crying so many times because she was afraid for her sons that weren't going to make it back here safe and sound. Everybody made it home. My one uncle was what they called a frog man, and I'm not exactly what that was. I think they went down under the water and in the ocean, and I don't know what they did, but I remember my mom talking about that her mother just cried all the time for her children that were over in would have been World War II or no, probably World War I. Oh, I guess you think about it, you're glad you don't have to do it, but you didn't have to send children to the war. But I did have two brothers that were in the military, but they weren't in the war as far. And right now I have a nephew. He flies airplanes and he refills airplanes with gas and stuff like that. He's in the military. It's a pretty tough job, pretty scary for him to do, but he's a career military kid. He's like 40, close to 40, but he never got married. That's what he wanted to do with his whole life, and you got to really appreciate what they do, and you do worry, you do think about it. What if you never get to see him again or something, you know? You know, one time, one of my uncles that was in the military, he brought home his, I forget what they called them, but it was a big box, I think they called them K rations or something like that. And as kids got into them and was looking at them, they were pretty nasty stuff, and I thought, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that's what my uncle survived on when he was in the military, what he sacrificed when he was in the military. It was just boxes of food, you know. You gotta appreciate it, so. Anyway, I remember my mom when my brother, when the fighting was going on over in Vietnam, I remember my mom sitting and crying because she had two sons that were over in Vietnam. And I remember listening to my mom cry. You know, and I was younger enough that I didn't quite as much understand. But as I get older, I realize, you know, how tough that is on families, on, you know, wives and children to have their family in the military.
So you feel a lot of like gratitude toward them?
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
Veterans Day means to me that I'm proud to be an American and I love my country. And I am thankful for the men that defended. My husband was in the Navy and he was very proud to serve his country. So, God bless America.
Veterans Day means so much to me because I think that everybody that served in the service should be honored, and I know my husband wasn't in the service. He went for a physical and was supposed to leave from there, but they weren't taking fathers. So he always felt like he should have been there, but he isn't with me anymore, and I know he thought a lot of the people that were in the service.
They have given up their time, their life, all of the things that we've needed, and they have been helpful and been in different services and done a wonderful job of doing for our veterans and giving of their service.
I appreciate Veterans Day because they sacrificed their lives for us.
Well, Veterans Day means that we should celebrate it. They're wonderful people. These young boys go give their life for us, and then they come back without maybe arms, legs, or whatever. We don't take good care of them. I think they should be the priority of the United States of America because They are keeping us safe and they are giving their lives for us. Amen.
Veterans Day is a great day to appreciate veterans and the sacrifices they have made to protect our freedoms and our way of life.
Well, I was telling Miss when I was a child that we lived in Miami, Oklahoma, near the airport. And I think my dad was in the reserves or something. But every time we heard an airplane fly over, we had to run out and wave at the flag, wave at the people, that airplane. But then in St. John's, Kansas, as I was in school, we had, I was just starting school, and they had let the school kids out to come to the park. We all could stand out there and watch the school band come and play the Star Spangled Banner. And they had just announced the end of the war. And I remember how happy all of us little kids probably didn't realize what we were cheering for, except that we were applauding the band. But as I grew older, I remember I was in Curtis, and I was baking coffee cakes for the day for my hired man. And my son come running in and he says, "Mom, why had you got the TV on?" And I said, "Well, why?" He said, "Because they just bombed, airplanes just crashed into the towers in New York." And we stood there and watched it. And we watched it for a while. He said, "Well, at least, Mom, you should have saved the cake." He says, "I think you burnt the cakes." But as we got older, years after this, I think our lives changed on our thoughts of celebrating Veterans Day and VA Day or Flag Day or whatever it is, because we kind of lost track there for a while on really what the First and the Second War and what the boys had fought us for. And I think since then we have changed our way of thinking of celebrating our Veterans Day. And I hope it continues, because our hearts are out to those boys and our families that have fought for us, so that we can do these celebrations. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. And and I really, over the years, I've not had anybody, well, my brother was a Navy, but it was during the peacetime. But I just, your heart just stops when you hear the drums, you hear the trumpets at the cemeteries. Your heart just stops for a minute, and you just gotta have to let the tears come, because they're tears of welcoming that freedom. Thank you. Yeah, she was in England at the time when the war started, and she said the sirens were going off in England, and she said we knew immediately that what we had to do was grab our knapsacks and go to the airport, because we were headed out to the servicemen. And she said we got to France, and then she said it was one casket after another. She said we had to just keep working until we could get all this soldiers that had been injured. They had the planes, she said, they just kept flying over. And then she said, then we went to the Philippines, and she says, I was on the ship to haul the casualties from France to, I think it was the Philippines, where they took the casualties for the help to get the amputees and all the injuries helped. She wouldn't talk much about it, but she did talk some that you knew that she was in the heart of helping the service at that time. And Etta had a heart of gold when she was at a children's hospital with care, and she read anything that came across in the papers. And when she passed away, I had pages of the Omaha World Herald and all the newspapers that she had copied off, kept pieces of them to read over and over and over, to keep it in her. She would have been a great one to serve with because she had the strength and she had the heart to help the man. That'll be it.
I find Veterans Day very important because we honor those who risked their lives for us and also fought for our rights.
Veterans Day is very important to me. I have had a grandpa who served in the Army. My grandma served. She was a Rosie the Riveter, and she was like, actually both my grandmas were this way, like they were just dynamite in a little package, but she was about this tall, and she would tell us all these stories about working in the machine shops and the things that they did to contribute to the war effort at that time. I also had, my dad served during Vietnam. He and 3 of his brothers served, and then the baby of their family served quite a few years later. But all of them were involved in the military. I have 3 brothers who have gone into and served in the military, and then 2 brothers-in-law that have served and or are currently serving. So I feel a really strong connection to it because of family. But when I think about the things that different people have gone through, and some of them I know, a huge amount of them I don't know. But what a beautiful thing that people have been willing to sign up and to go, knowing that some of the things they do are going to be very difficult for them. Some of the things they go through are going to be very difficult for their families, but they look at it and they weigh the cost and they say, this is worth it to me to do. And there are different motivations. I'm doing it for my family, I'm doing it for my country, I'm doing it for being a voice for those who don't have a voice, for standing up for people who can't stand up for themselves. There are so many different reasons that they do it, but anytime that there is a group of people within humanity that is willing to give so much for humanity, there's nothing that we can ever say that will be enough. But we would be remiss to ever not take an opportunity like Veterans Day to at least say thank you.
Good morning. My name is Roger Lindley. I spent 9 years in the Air Force as a pilot's assistant, getting ready to fly and so on, get the planes ready. And I was always so proud of being a part of the military. that was keeping our country safe and with peace. And the flag meant a lot to me, as it did to most of the people in the service. It was a way of showing your life and giving your life to that part of it, to the country, for freedom and for the people to be safe at home. It was always towards the American people, but also helping others in other countries. Thank you so much for this day. It's wonderful to see them celebrate this very meaningful holiday for the veterans of the United States of America. May God bless all of you.
Well, I was asked to tell what Veterans Day means to me, and to me it's honoring those that really served for the country, and we are very thankful. I am very thankful for those that have served. I try to tell everybody that I know had served that I was appreciating their service and thank them very much for what they've done. And we can only repay you by saying thank you, but it should go a lot farther than that. And everything is appreciated. That's why we pay our taxes, so that you can have your VA and have a healthy life. And we just appreciate you guys so much that we want you to know that from the heart. Okay? Thank you.
I'm an Army veteran. I served in Germany, and veterans need all the help they can get, because this world wouldn't be like it is today without the veterans. So you should always donate to a veterans cause if you can. And I know they have a lot of stuff on the website and everything, but I even do it. And I'm a disabled vet, so I'm just proud that I had a chance to serve my country. When they were doing the draft, I didn't wait for it. I thought, I knew they needed me, so I signed up. I didn't wait to get drafted like everybody was running away, and I don't know why. They shouldn't be allowed back into the country, as far as I'm concerned. Well, Veterans Day's coming up, and I hope you all have a great one. Bye.
I go back a long ways. I go back to 1776. It took a while. Member of the DAR, Daughters of the American Revolution. I had a patriot that fought in the Revolutionary War. Great-great-great-great-grandfather. It took a long time to get into that DAR. And so just recently, our Shelton chapter had to merge with the Fort Kearny chapter here in Kearny. So I'm looking forward to that. And also, I'm almost a 70-year member of the Shelton American Legion Auxiliary. And every year, we furnish supper for Veterans Day, supper for the vets. And so since coming here, I've not been able to do that, and I really miss that. We opened it up, and I see though that Shelton is furnishing supper for the veterans again this year, so I was glad to see that. And personally, I had a great uncle that fought in World War II. He was a career Army, and I had two brothers that joined the Air Force right out of high school. They were career, went into civil service. Then I had two sons-in-laws that were career Navy. And who else did we have, Don? A nephew was a career Air Force, and he is now 30-year air career, and he's now with Quantico OSI Secret Service. And just recently, within the last 3 months, our great-grandson, Keegan Pickle, joined the Navy for 6 years. He's signed up for 6 years, and so we're very proud of him. He just got awarded the most star one of his group when he graduated. So yeah, that's pretty much, we're pretty much patriotic at our house. So we've covered most of the wars, except Don. He was Seventh-day Adventist and was a conscientious objector. And so he never was in any service, but he was very patriotic.
Happy Veterans Day. Here at Broadwell, we honor the bravery, dedication, and sacrifices for all who have served our country. I am also so thankful for the opportunity to serve all of our veterans that live here at Broadwell. I would like to thank each one of you for your service to our country, and I am blessed to know you.
Robert Joseph Beatar, U.S. Navy, 1963 to 1966. Stationed in Norfolk, Virginia. The way they say it, Norfolk, Virginia. He was the legal officer aboard a ship, and he was the navigator of the ship. That was his work there. Graduated from Fairfield University, which is in Fairfield, Connecticut, and that's his hometown. He was married to his wife, Annette, June 2nd, 1962.
That's you.
That's me. I'm remembering everything. I have a son also who's a veteran. We remember those that have died in the service of our country.
I think it's important to acknowledge Veterans Day because they sacrificed so much, and I don't think we can even fully comprehend what they sacrificed for us to be free. And so I think it's a great reminder every year just to try to put yourself in their shoes and think about how different it was for them and how they've made life so much better for us.
Veterans Day to me, I personally love history and went to school for history, and one of the few things that history repeats is wars. I have not served, but I do have family members who have served in the National Guard and thankfully have not had to serve in a war. But with those that I work for, I know that plenty of you have been one in a wartime to, you've been a veterans during active service during a wartime. And I thank you guys for what you have done so that I have not had to. I try to give the best service to everybody that I can, and I always try to thank those veterans that I know. But sometimes I know that there are plenty of veterans who don't want to be known as such. So thank you very much for your service, and I hope that you have a blessed day.
Veterans Day is important to me because so many of our residents have served in the military, and I just want to say thank you.
Veterans Day is important to me because my boyfriend's in the Army, and I just think all the sacrifices that him and his friends go through is just so great, and we never realize how important those things are. We see all these war movies and everything, and they're just so impactful, but those are things that real people had to go through, and it's just great that we have a day to celebrate all of them.
My one brother was killed in service, and he was 35 before I was born in 39. And then I had another brother in the service, and my husband has been in the service, and he went to the Army with Melvin Abels, and from Riverdale, Amherst, and himself, and everybody came home safe, at the same time, and they were gone to the service at the same time. So, and everybody was safe when they come home. So, otherwise, it's been eventful. I just want to everybody, thank you for helping take care of us.
Veterans Day is important to me because we honor those that not only gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country, but also those that gave the sacrifice of time and commitment over their families to help serve our country.
I had a husband that was in the veteran war in Korea, and it was so important to him. And I think we all should celebrate all these men and women that risk their life to try to save the United States. It would be nice if we all got along. And that's about all it.
Veterans Day means a lot to me because I came from a military family. I had 4 uncles in World War II. My dad was in the Marine Corps in the Pacific. One of my uncles was a top turret gunner on a B-17, 32 missions. Mechanics, truck drivers, and then Dad, once he got out of the Marine Corps, got started farming and got married, had me and my sister, got called back to Korea and spent his time in Korea then too, and wounded in both of them. But anyway, that's where we're at today. It was with our veterans, the greatest generation. And it continues to what the guys are doing nowadays with our nasty little wars everywhere. So yeah, we owe a lot to the veterans. And we thank them all.
It's good. Veterans Day means a lot to me because my brother was overseas. I just enjoy the holiday just to see the veterans themselves and say what they did for our country. That's it.
Well, Veterans Day is kind of near and dear to my heart. I was in the Air Force Air National Guard here in Nebraska back in the early 90s, and I was fortunate enough to serve with my father. What I did was nothing compared to what my dad did in the military. He served 40 and a half years, and I also have a very nice picture somewhere of my father and my grandfather and I all in our dress blues. So it's just kind of nice that I have that tie in with my dad. So happy Veterans Day, Dad.
Veterans Day means a lot. It's our freedom, it's our choices, it's the ability to live in our great country that we have, and without people serving our great country, we wouldn't have the things that we have. So I'm very grateful for that, and thank you all for doing the duty.
Veterans Day to me is a special day to pay tribute to Americans, to America's living veterans, with a celebration of thank yous, and then also show respect to those who gave their life for our country. I've been blessed to get to know one of the veterans living here at Broadwell who served and timed in Korea. He has interesting stories to share. A big thank you to him and all the other veterans that are living here and who made time and took sacrifices that made our country great.
Well, I've been very proud that I've had my family involved in the veterans. I have my husband, my brother, have all been in the service and served their time and stayed on as veterans. And so we always think that's an important day. And in our little town, we always have a big celebration, and all these servicemen come and they march up the streets and they carry the flags and go to the cemetery, and it's quite an ordeal. Those veterans are pretty proud of themselves, and they have a right to be.
I was very young when I developed a love and appreciation and admiration for the veterans. And it's all because of my dad. I didn't see my dad until I was 3 years old because he was in World War II. And when he came home, of course I was too young to even remember back then or understand what was going on with him, but there would be times he would cry and not feel good and that kind of thing. And my mom and him were just really sweet with each other. But as we got older, I think it was just probably, as I look back a few years after he got home, every year we started going to a, what they call it, a reunion that involved men that he had fought with. And I was getting old enough to listen to their conversations and really began to develop an appreciation for, oh my goodness, what those men went through. My dad would not talk to us about it, but when he got together with those guys, he just had a great time, and I think it was very therapeutic for all of those men. And I don't know, and I've married a wonderful man who was in the Army, and I think looking back, it was something that in my heart, my mom and dad, they taught us to appreciate our flag and respect our flag, to love our country. And I'm very grateful that I lived in a family like that really cared about how we view our country and those men that have fought for us to keep us free.
Well, I think it started out as a kid. I can remember when I was about 7 years old, the war was on, and I was scared to death of the Japanese because that was they were really strong and doing a lot of things, and we couldn't have lights on our house at night, and it was, for a kid, I really remember quite a bit of that, and how people would come. We would get in a wagon with horses and go to the neighbors because they didn't want any of us driving out with our lights on. And I think back about that, and it still scared me, but I did then. And then my dad didn't make it, but I had an uncle that was in the First World War. So I had heard some of his stories, and then you get into that second story thing. And it was pretty scary. I can remember that being scary because of the age and everybody was going higher. And then probably the best thing I did was listen to the old guys and uncles and everybody about what was going to happen, and then I paid attention to what we were going to do with the armies and the navies and all that kind of stuff. So, and then I ended up going in the army for 4 years. Had a brother that was already in the service. He come home for Christmas. So I just got out of high school that year, and so he got there, and he said, then I was out of a job because I was working construction in the wintertime. That didn't work. Anyway, he said, well, we're going to Germany in about another 4 months. You want to go along? I said, oh, just well. I give it a long period of thought. Anyway, yeah, then this one of the best things I ever did for myself, because you learn pretty quick how you're supposed to behave and how you treat your country, and what them good guys, what they do for you and to you is just, I mean, you can never forget it all. It's just, and this is kind of interesting. I just got a call today about American Legion, I have been in and out of that, helping at Amherst and such places like that. I'm kind of out of able to do very much anymore, but I will. I mean, I still go if I can, but I enjoy doing all that, and love to talk to the old vets, and I really. I'm real proud of our vets today, that were the people that I go to for doctoring and medicine. Those people are wonderful. They just are still. And to be real honest, I think we're in a position right now that's very close to something not very good's going to happen. And I hope it doesn't work, because I do love our country and our leaders and all those people. And then when you talk about these vets that we're helping with nowadays, I think that's one of the greatest things that's happened. Give those people at least a how their arms are gone, their legs are gone, and everything else, and we can help take care of them and their families. And that is, I'm high on them people doing their job.
Okay, Veterans Day is coming up, and a day that we must celebrate. I think it has gotten lost in the beginning of being popular. The veterans are the only ones that are being hurt. We need to respect them and thank them for everything we have in our life today. And the next one that always takes and laughs at it, I could care less what happens to him. It is the best thing we have in our country, and the only thing that's going to keep us all alive.